All right, and welcome back to The Lead Word. This is your host, Trey Dalbert, along with me, as always, Chad Bauman. Today is Saturday, August 7th. We're recording this at night. Chad, you're in a hotel room. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm currently in, where am I? I'm in Columbus, Ohio, in a hotel room. If you hear like a bunch of noise and shit in the background, that's my brother and my mom are in the other part of the hotel room. We're on a recruiting trip for my brother, getting looked at to wrestle in Ohio, 7-hour drive from New Jersey, which was fun and sucked in some parts. Like I thought Pennsylvania drivers were bad, just particularly knowing you, Trey, and getting stuck behind them in the left lane all the time. But I swear to God, there was this one point we were in Ohio and I was in the left lane and the speed limit was 70 and everybody's doing 50 miles an hour.
Oh, that would have driven me nuts.
I'm looking at it and like there's nobody in the right lane. I'm like, why are we all just cruising in? So then like I passed like everybody going like 90 miles an hour down the highway in Ohio. And it wasn't even on the turnpike. It was just like normal highway.
Unbelievable.
Speeding my ass off. And then there was
people.
I was like, you guys suck. Like Pennsylvania drivers are bad, but you all Ohio fucks are really bad.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, but not 20 under. My God.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Anyway, we're going to do the NFL division previews. Try to hit all these before the NFL season. Unless you have anything on the Hall of Fame game. I don't know if you watched it.
No, I didn't. I did not even know it was being played, to be 100% honest with you. Like, I was just like I didn't notice. I didn't know it was played until like I saw like Tan posted something on Twitter. He was like,
yeah, I could be wrong about this, but I believe he had 86 live tweets about the Hall of Fame game. Anyway, we're going to do the NFC and AFC North this week. So, Chad, what are your initial maybe takeaways on the AFC North here?
AFC North. I feel like the AFC North is like this. We're like kind of growing into like the same thing we've been saying for the last couple of years now. Like, I mean, Cleveland has just been like getting better and better and better each year. And like they traditionally it's been like, okay, Cleveland's the punching bag of this division. But like Myles Garrett last year, Myles Garrett, like his first couple of years in the league, he wasn't bad by any means, like, normal kind of like growing into the NFL kind of game. But like last year, what did he have? 15 sacks, right? If I'm not mistaken.
He was a monster. We've known this is coming though. He's the first pick in the draft for a reason.
Yeah. Like I said,
he finally exploded into a freak show.
Right. Last year was like his coming out party. So like having Myles Garrett, I mean, they're pretty much the same team as they were last year, except they added some rookies. Unless I'm mistaken.
And Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, I completely, like I said last week, it's been so long without football.
Yeah.
Like some of this stuff, it just like completely slipped my mind. And it's
really good Rams safety, John Johnson.
Yeah,
good pickup. I didn't know you were going to start with them, but I think Cleveland has to be the favorites in this division to win it.
I mean, I like I said, yeah, that's kind of why I started with them, is because I feel like last year was their coming out party. It was Myles Garrett's coming out party, and like Cleveland just kind of like circled the wagons around him and said, you know what, we're just gonna come out here and we're gonna hit everybody in the mouth and we're gonna play tough football. And then they run it down your throat with Nick Chubb. When Baker Mayfield doesn't make mistakes, they're hard to beat.
I think they might be one of the 3 best rosters in all of football.
I trying to think back to the playoffs last year. Were they in the championship game? Because they
lost to Kansas City, remember?
Yeah,
Andy Reid.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. Like, I knew they lost to Kansas City. I couldn't remember that, if that was like in the divisional round or if that was in
divisional. Buffalo was in the championship.
Okay, yeah. So I knew they lost to Kansas City. I just couldn't remember exactly where they lost to Kansas City. I mean, as far as like division winner, I think, like we said, it's kind of clearly Cleveland, because like they're just tough to beat. I mean, the Ravens should have a good record, and I mean, it's a division opponent, and I know you have your issues with the Ravens. Like you're a self-hating Ravens fan here.
I think they got worse.
But I mean, they'll still play Cleveland tough, and I mean, I don't know what the Ravens' strength of schedule is, but I mean, they've got a pretty good team. If they can get a fair amount of wins, I think they can play Cleveland tough. They have a team that's good enough to have a winning record.
Chad, who are their pass rushers? They have nobody that can get after the quarterback. And I mean nobody.
Yeah, you don't like Lamar Jackson because he's got accuracy issues, and like I agree, he's not the greatest quarterback, but he's a dynamic runner. He opens things up in their offense where if they're on the occasions that they do capitalize, like again, like he opens up as hard as it is to say he does open up the deep ball, he just has trouble hitting it consistently because he doesn't have the accuracy. But I mean,
I think J.K. Dobbins is going to be the guy that saves them, to be completely honest.
Well, what did JK had like last year? He had like 249 yards, and if he got 250, they would have won. What was the game against Buffalo? I think it was. Or no, was it Lamar that had like 300 yards rushing or something like that, and they lost it because they didn't get it 4th and 1.
I don't. Or was the Steelers? Buffalo.
No, it was the Steelers. That's what I was saying. Like I said, it's last season seems like it was like years ago. Like I don't know if you had that same feeling, but everything that's been going on with like COVID restrictions coming and going and coming back again.
It's worth pointing out that the AFC North schedule as a whole was awful last year. Like they had every schedule break in the book last year. Baltimore didn't leave the Eastern time zone. Not once.
Yeah.
I think a little bit of the wagons are going to fall off here.
Again, I'm not saying that they couldn't be worse. I'm just saying that they'll have a winning record. So like, if
I don't know if
have
that's
a winning
true.
record, I mean, they could maybe squeak out a win against Cleveland. Like I said, I think Cleveland's the clear favorite, but I mean, I wouldn't discount Baltimore. Like they have an outside, like it's an outside shot. Don't get me wrong, but they have a shot.
I'm not sure they're a 500 team.
I feel like that's just like, I know. I don't have the words capable.
They got
of describing
worse.
the way
They
I feel
absolutely
about
got
that
worse. Losing Orlando Brown on the offensive line is a huge loss.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not. Like I said, I don't think they're going to be world beaters, but I don't think you can say they're not going to be 500. Like they're good enough to have what is it? 18 games now. So what would 17 games, 18 weeks. You knew what I meant.
I can see them 8-9 easy.
8? No, I wouldn't do that. I mean 10 and 8. No, that's wrong again. 10 and 7. You know,
That's too high.
I'm so not used to these new the way this works. Like,
so what? Sammy Watkins gonna save him?
I mean, if Lamar can get him the ball,
Like
I said, they're not like great. I'm not expecting them to go to the Super Bowl, but I feel like saying that they're gonna have a losing record. You can't even go 500 anymore. Now that I think about it, like there's no.
you could get a tie in there and then go 8-1.
I guess, but
8-1.
we you know, any real athlete knows a tie is a loss. Like you didn't win that game, it's a loss. Don't, like, it doesn't count. It's not a win. You lost that game. You know, quote one of my freshman high school football coaches. You know, or actually, this is everybody says this. You know, ties like kissing your sister. Like you don't want to kiss your sister. Like that's not cool.
I don't. I have lower expectations than I did a year ago, for sure.
I mean, I think maybe they get lucky against Cleveland. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to go, you know, if you see this, hammer the Baltimore bet to win the division. You know, don't come back to me like, you know, however many months until the end of the NFL season to be like, hey, you told me to hammer Baltimore and now here we are and I lost $100,000. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, if you can put $1 down and maybe make $100 off of the bet, Baltimore has an outside shot to win the division.
If they were in the NFC West, I think they're a last place team.
I mean, yeah, I think we'll get there when we get there, but I think the AFC West is like the best division in the
NFC
NFL.
West, I meant.
Or
NFC West, I meant.
I knew you meant
yeah.
Rams and all that.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying I think they're I knew what you meant. Even if I didn't say it correctly, I did still knew what you meant. But I think that's the best division in the NFL right now. So I don't think it's saying, oh, they're last place because they go to the NFC West. A lot of teams would be last place in the NFC West, and that's just because that's the best division in the league.
I think they'll be in a dogfight with Pittsburgh.
Ooh, I think Who else? Okay, so what's the third team? Oh,
Cincinnati.
You know what? Actually, no. I was gonna say I think Pittsburgh is the clear bottom feeder in that division, but then I forgot about Cincinnati. So, I mean, they're not.
I think Baltimore will be in a dogfight with Pittsburgh. I don't trust Big Ben at all, but their defense is very much for real. And even if Big Ben doesn't really have it, they'll run Najee Harris into the ground. They'll end up having a good year. They'll win some games.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm just like, I'm so through with Pittsburgh at this point. Like,
so am I.
Just the absolute meltdown.
How you feel about the Steelers right now is where I put Baltimore. I think they're the same team.
Hey, same team was in the playoffs. If you feel the same team, they should be in the playoffs.
Well, Pittsburgh's also a little bit of, I don't want to call them a fraud, but what did they start out 11-0 and then they lost?
Yeah, they're choke artists. They're choke artists. Yeah, like
they're not like how they started is not how they really are.
You know, how many did they lose in a row? Like after going 11-0, they lost like 4 or 5 straight. Like, and in the games that they lost, they were all like those kind of like the close. They weren't like blowouts or anything. Like it was like close on all accounts. It was like
I just feel there's a ceiling on there. Mike Tomlin's a good coach, but I feel like, I mean, they're not Super Bowl contenders. Big Ben's not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback anymore. They just have a ceiling.
I know I said I didn't watch the Hall of Fame game, but just like looking in the Slack, Claypool, did he just seeing in the Slack, it seemed like
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to him. I would assume if he was really badly hurt, they would have came out with something by now.
Okay. I mean, that's the one thing is just that I wanted to ask because I didn't know if you knew. Like I was driving all day yesterday, today, all day, basically out with my brother and doing the recruiting thing. So I didn't know he would really pay attention to my phone, but I think last night before I took it down for bed, I saw something where like Brian Tan was like having a mental breakdown over Chase Claypool. So I was like, maybe something happened.
Brian Tan had a lot of mental breakdowns.
Scott Logish too was not happy in the Slack after he posted about Claypool. So I figured something major had happened, but I don't know. You're right. Usually if it's a big injury, we'll have like the time framing of everything by now.
Yeah. I mean, they're talented. They have 3 good receivers. Their defense is awesome.
Yeah.
DJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, they got guys.
Yeah, and I mean to be fair, like you're right, like they do have talent, but this just might be a hater at this point because he fucked me so hard in fantasy, but all my issues stem from Ben Roethlisberger.
You have every right to be
like
you have every right.
Non-contact injury, like Mason Rudolph is thrown out there, and I mean the collapse last year, like I mean it's not all Ben's fault, but like a lot of it was like he was just a bad quarterback, and in that like 4 or 5 game stretch where they just lost to everybody, it was a lot of him just playing very, very poorly.
Yeah. We'll see if Haskins is the future.
Hey man, y'all want to win? Put Dwayne. No, I guess it doesn't really work. Booby Miles Prime's a little bit better. Y'all want to win? Put Haskins in. Yeah, that works though. I'll go with that.
There we go.
Let Haskins spin, coach.
Do you buy any of the reports coming out of Cincinnati that Joe Burrow really struggling, having a hard time coming back from the knee? Isn't quite right.
I mean, I don't know if I'd say I'd buy into it. I mean, he like obliterated his knee. There's been practice reports he's throwing like 8 picks a day. It's been awful. I mean, can we just like let him get back into the groove though? Like,
well, I'm just saying if he's struggling and he's having a hard time coming back from injury, they're an absolute last place team.
I mean, I think they were going to be last place regardless. Like Joe Burrow, yes. Like as great as he is, like there's only so much you can do. They still haven't addressed really their offensive line issues. Like Joe Burrow, like, I mean, I'd be kind of shook too. Like I'm coming back from this knee injury. I had no protection last year. And the first thing you do is draft a wide receiver. Like, I mean, he's a really good wide receiver.
I think he wanted him though. I think he wanted him.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, after that, they didn't go and try to get anybody to protect him even after they drafted the wide receiver. Like I said, he's a great wide receiver. I don't know. Yeah.
Third round picks.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the quarterback, like your offensive line is already basically all third round picks. Like what, like one more third round pick's really going to make the difference here? Like, no. Like, I'm not. If I'm Joe Burrow, I have no confidence in that offensive line. You literally broke the crap out of my knee last year, and then now you expect me to go back. It's basically the same offensive line. Maybe there's a rookie in there. Like, I'd rather have a shitty veteran than a rookie that, like, for the first time, like if it's a third round pick rookie, like that's kind of like scary for me. Like I have no confidence in those guys. Like, yeah, I've got like one of the best wide receivers coming out of this this draft class, but you know, if I don't have the 3-4 seconds I need to throw the ball, like what does that do for me?
What are your thoughts on Joe Mixon? I think he's a dog shit running back, but every single year, man, these people are all over him in fantasy. It seems like he disappoints every year, and then once again, people are all over him in fantasy. I never seem to understand it.
I mean, strictly from the fantasy point of view, for me, I had Joe Mixon 1 year in fantasy, and I will say this: he was pretty consistent for me. Like, he wasn't like
what year?
You know, I want to say it was his rookie year. It was before I was in your league.
I was gonna say 2018 is really the only good year he's had.
I don't know. I know I had him 1 year. Maybe it was his rookie year. And like I said, he wasn't like great. Like, he wasn't like, oh, I'm going to put Joe Mixon in and he's going to get me 15 points. He's going to get me 10 points. But when I did have him his rookie year, like, not at first, but towards the end of the season, he was pretty consistent for me, where I could put him in and be like, okay, I'm going to get like 6 to 9 points from him. Like, it was always like 6.
Yeah, but if people treat this guy like he's like a top 5 running back,
I would definitely not take him in the top 5. I think if you need a filler running back and he's there in the middle of the draft, like, pull the trigger. Like, you have no regrets at that point.
But that's not where he goes. He's like treated as like a top 5, 10.
You asked me for my opinion, and I'm giving you my opinion. I'm just saying, like, that's where I'm taking Joe Mixon. I don't think he's like a stud. Like, I'm not like, if I'm looking at Christian McCaffrey or Joe Mixon, I'm not like, oh yeah, let me go get Joe Mixon. No, it's McCaffrey, it's Nick Chubb, it's Saquon Barkley. Like, I'd take Saquon coming off the ACL before I take Joe Mixon. So, I mean, running backs and ACLs, the last time, big name running back got an ACL was Adrian Peterson. So, man, I don't know. Saquon might break the rushing record this year, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
So I'm going to go Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati definitely at the bottom of the barrel. You said Cleveland, Pittsburgh. I'm going the opposite. I'm doing Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. If Cincinnati wasn't if that was any other, no, except for like the Jets, if that was any other team in that division, I would put Pittsburgh fourth, and they would rock 3. But fucking Ben Roethlisberger, I hate that guy.
All right. Anything else on AFC North? Ready for NFC North?
Not on the AFC, and I think maybe we should have done this before. Did you want to, like, maybe even after that? I guess we could do the NFC North, and then I'll ask you. Come back to this. Maybe. Hold on. We could just do the NFC North now.
What were you trying to?
I don't know. For some reason my brain kind of was like, oh, maybe we should talk about Carson Wentz because it's in the AFC. Because like we the last show we did it before they kind of announced his injury time frame. So I was like, maybe we should kind of address that, but I don't know. I don't even think we need to talk about that, to be honest with you. Yeah. It's newsy, but I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of where I ended up landing after I was about to ask the question.
NFC North, not the greatest division in the world. We got Green Bay, who should be good, but they're dysfunctional. Minnesota, they're kind of mediocre. They are what they are.
Did Minnesota? No, it was Green Bay took it last year, right?
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, it's been football. Last season feels like it was like 100 years ago. Like I was just so disconnected for some reason this year. I don't know why.
Chicago's defense hasn't been the same, but maybe that's bailing out a bad quarterback all the time. So maybe they are back to elite if Fields takes over, but we kind of don't know what we're getting right away. And then Detroit's always terrible. So
yeah, I mean, if we're going to start with Chicago, I'm just going to say, like, whoever you put at quarterback, well, not whoever, I should say, as if you put Justin Fields at quarterback, it's not going to be worse than what you had last year. Like by no stretch of the imagination. Like Fields could literally just go out and shit himself on every play, and it would still be better than what they played last year.
I think Dalton will start. I don't know how long, but he'll start.
I'll give him 4 weeks.
Yeah,
4 weeks.
Fair.
Because I mean, dude, we know Matt Nagy hated, what's his face, Mitch Trubisky.
How could you not?
I mean, what is Mitch Trubisky? I mean, I don't see him getting along any better with Andy Dalton. I mean,
Nick Foles is still somehow on the roster.
And dude, Nick Foles, don't even give me like he comes out in the press conference the other day and he's like, what did he say? Something stupid. Damn it, we need a producer because we could get them to get this. What did he say? He said like, something like that. And he made a joke. He's like, I'll just like keep slinging it with these third stringers. Like, yeah, dude, fuck, you played like a third stringer last year. No shit.
He was really bad last year.
Like you can't be mad about being on third string when you played like a third stringer.
There's actually no question he was worse than Trubisky last year.
No, there's like literal statistical data to prove that he was worse than Trubisky. Like that's the bad part about it. Like you couldn't outplay Mitch Trubisky. Like you can say what you want. Like, No,
that's what I'm saying. There's no denying he was worse than Trubisky last year.
It's just, I mean, but that's what just really got on my nerves. I saw that the other day. He's like, yeah, I'll just keep slinging it with these third stringers. Like, dude, don't get like an attitude. Don't try to like act big. Like, oh, I'm better than third string. Dude, you had a great run to go into the Super Bowl and win. Like, I'm not gonna lie. That's the outlier though, Nick. Like, you're not better than Tom Brady.
He had a great Fitzpatrick 4-game stretch.
Yeah, like, and then we turned gave you the keys to start against Atlanta. What'd you do? Nothing. You started the game against Tampa Bay. What'd you do? For like a half, all you did was throw the ball to the Tampa Bay defense. And then like, luckily, we kind of came back at the end of that. Like you were bad, dude. Like you get mad about people making you play third string, but you played like a third stringer. Like you can't play like a third stringer and be mad you're not taking first string reps. It's not how it works.
Yeah. I do think there's a chance Chicago makes the playoffs. The NFC just isn't what they used to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's like there's like 2 or 3. I mean, basically, like if you look at like every division with the outside the NFC East, there's like you could pretty much say that about like a lot of teams, like 2 or 3 teams in each division, or 1 or 2 teams in each division. Like, oh, they have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, Chicago has a chance because they have a phenomenal defense. I mean, if we're going to be honest with you, I mean, that's their only chance. But I mean, who knows like how that fatigue sets in with the defense? Because we saw it not last year.
I feel like if you get even an average Justin Fields, you're getting in there.
I want to say this, like last year with like Chicago, their defense kind of like rebounded a little bit after the year before. Like at the end of like 2 years ago, at the end of the season, like it was just clear the defense was like, dude, we can't, we can't fucking do this anymore. Like we need a little bit of help from the offense. Like score 3 points and like we might be able to get a win here. You can't get shut out for like an entire game. Like there was a couple years ago, they played the Eagles. They had negative yards going into the second half of the game. Like you didn't get a single positive yard the entire first half of the game. If I played for that defense, I'd be like, and you can see it like their body language. They quit, and it was like, okay, and it, that. How do you spell that problem though? It's MITCH, right? So they get this guy out the door. They're like, okay, we're gonna spend $1 million, $40 million or whatever the figure was in our quarterback room, and we're gonna have an overpaid Mitch Trubisky be our backup, and we're gonna bring in Nick Foles, who won a Super Bowl for the Eagles, but he played really terrible outside of that Super Bowl. And then
how about the press conference though by the Bills GM Brandon Beane when they signed Trubisky to be the backup? Did you see that?
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe I did. It was fantastic. They're like, we don't anticipate him being here that long. We know Mitch is a starting quarterback in this league. We're happy to have him.
I don't agree with. I mean, I agree with him. We don't anticipate him to be here that long, kind of thing. But it's not because he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. It's more.
Hey, though, great press conference. You bring this guy in. Great quote right there.
It's more like we don't anticipate him being here that long.
You gotta
because
give him
he
credit.
sucks
That
really
was a
bad.
great line.
Hey man, I guess like he's not going to tell the truth. Hey,
Yeah.
we don't like this because the truth is we don't anticipate him being here that long because he's really, really bad and shouldn't be in the NFL. Like you're not going to come out and say that. You just signed this guy, right? Like because that just
Well, their alternative was Matt Barkley, so
and he's even worse.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, in Nick Foles, they brought him in and it was like, okay, Nick Foles, he's going to be our savior. And then it was like you said, he was even worse. And it's like, I don't know how like Chicago's defense played half as well as they did last year. Because it was just like, it's more of the same. It's just a different guy. So I think, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know if, I mean, Andy Dalton, for me, I don't think you have anything in Andy Dalton that you didn't have in Nick Foles starting. So I don't know. Like
I think Dalton's better. I think Dalton's better.
Marginally. I don't think there's like if you have to look for the difference between Andy Dalton and Nick Foles, you're in there real close with the magnifying glass and you're like, yeah, okay.
He's a dime instead of a nickel.
No, not even. I would say I would say like, you know how like coins can have like weird values just because like mistakes and stuff like that. Like I don't know. I feel like if there was like if there was like some kind of coin that was like a half a cent, he would be like a nickel in that half cent.
I'll give him a 5-cent upgrade. I still like. It's hard to pick against Green Bay, just as long as Rodgers is on the roster. He's the MVP of the league. You feel like even if he's not quite as good, he'll still be awesome. They still have Devontae Adams.
Can I say
it's hard
that?
to pick
One thing I
against
want to
Green
go back
Bay.
to. One thing I think Green Bay's kind of have to be the winner just because I don't think there's anybody in that division that's good enough. Because who's in? We got Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota, Detroit. Yeah, I mean Detroit. Their coach is kind of weird. That sketch. Like I'm not gonna lie, dude. Like I don't like. I'm looking at him as a head coach, and he might be a great head coach. I don't know, but like one of the kind of things is like, how does this coach carry himself? He doesn't strike me as an NFL head coach looking at him. Maybe he, or just the way he talks too. Like, dude's basically doing like 12 fucking ounces of cocaine every day. Like, it's like insane the amount of coffee he drinks. But like Detroit, like, no, I don't trust the head coach.
He's almost good for a bad team though.
I don't, dude, but I just like, it's hard. Like the same way, like I look at Nick Sirianni and like his inability to speak. I'm like, you might be a great X's and O's guy.
He's not. He's
but
a tight end.
Bugging me out. Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like, it's a similar thing. Like, I'm looking at these guys and they're very similar. Like, again, they're kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. This guy talks way too much. Nick Sirianni, when he does talk, it's like, just shut up. But with Green Bay, yeah, I think they've got to be the clear favorite one just because they have the best quarterback. Defense is pretty good. Offensive line's going to keep Rodgers clean enough unless they're playing Tampa Bay, and then they're going to give up 12 sacks. Still, kind of questionable with the weapons. They got actually
Randall Cobb's back.
Yeah, big thing for Aaron Rodgers. But on the subject of Aaron Rodgers, I just want to talk about like his press conference after he reported to camp. Because I know like you last year, you were big on the, hey, this is what you get for drafting Jordan Love. And one of the things that like for me, like pointed out with his press conference, and again, Rodgers even said this before, but this kind of like cements it. He wasn't mad they took Jordan Love. Maybe he might have been mad about the circumstances of not even getting like a text message heads up, like, hey, Aaron, we're taking this guy. Might have been mad about that, but he was not mad with the Jordan Love pick. And you could tell just by the fact that he comes out and he's like, yeah, I don't like the way they treated some other guys in the organization. And he starts naming guys like fucking Charles Woodson, who hasn't played in Green Bay in like 12 years. So it's like, yeah, he's been pissed about this for a while.
Yeah.
Like some of these guys, like I couldn't even tell you what number. Like I remember Charles Woodson playing for Green Bay. I remember him getting injured in the Super Bowl and not playing in the Super Bowl, and that was like a big thing. Like he basically won. He almost was like the NFL MVP that year, and he didn't get to play in the Super Bowl. Like I remember that. I couldn't tell you what jersey number he was though. Like I couldn't tell you. Like
he was a great player though.
He was, but like it's just kind of like for me, it's like it's a weird thing to come back and be like Aaron Rodgers has been holding on to just this hate and this just
sounds a lot like me.
Bile in the pit of his stomach for like 12 years.
Sounds like
and, you know, it's and the crazy thing is like him having such a great season last year. It just kind of reminds me. There's a point in Return of the Jedi where Luke Skywalker's like lightsaber fighting Darth Vader, and the Emperor's like,
use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the hate flow through you.
That's where I'm seeing Aaron Rodgers right now. He's just like letting the fucking dark side of the Force come out, letting the hate flow through him, and he's just hammering with the lightsaber on Darth Vader, which is the front office of the Green Bay Packers. But no, yeah, I think for
I don't even want to talk about the Vikings. Do we have to talk about the Vikings?
Is there Kirk? Yeah, still Kirk Cousins.
I'm just done with them. I'm done with them.
No, look, we do have to talk about the Vikings. It's kind of the point of the show.
I don't want to.
I mean, but look, to be fair, there's only really one thing that you have to say about the Vikings.
Dalvin Cook.
I was gonna say Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
That really sums up all you need to know about the Vikings and why they're gonna be bad next year. Kirk Cousins. So we can.
You used to be a Kirk Cousins guy, didn't you?
I do. Like when he left Washington, like yeah, I was a Kirk Cousins guy because he played pretty well, and then he got paid and he was like, you know, lost the eye of the tiger. He's like, I don't, you know, like I'm cashing this check regardless. You know,
yeah.
That's kind of like me when customers call me at my job and they're like, oh, I'm gonna get you fired. Okay, bye. Or no, their line is, I'm gonna close my account. Okay, bye. I'm getting paid on Friday regardless. Like, thanks. See ya. Have fun with whatever bank you
just done with the Vikings. I'm just done with until Kirk Cousins isn't the quarterback anymore. I'm just done with them. I'm just done with them.
Yeah, I mean, disappointing they didn't get a quarterback in this draft. Like
they did.
I mean, you know what I mean. They didn't get a good quarterback in this draft.
They didn't get a good quarterback. They didn't get a good quarterback.
Like, you know, that's like oh, the Bears drafted a quarterback. Oh yeah, well, who's the quarterback?
It's just so disappointing, right? Like
no,
imagine if the Vikings had gotten Fields.
I mean, they had a chance, didn't they? Because they
tried to trade up, and Chicago traded up in front of them.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, trading the top 10, that doesn't happen. I mean, it's like we've said this before. Playing in the draft is like playing the stock market, man. You gotta know when to buy and sell. You know what? So,
but imagine if the Vikings had Fields. Yeah, Cook, Thielen, Jefferson, Fields, offensive line's getting better.
You're right. I mean, you still have to give it like a year or two to kind of like let Justin Fields.
I would be excited about what the Vikings have.
Right.
Right now, I'm like, I don't want to talk
Kirk
about
Cousins.
it.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
I mean,
they'll win 7-8 games right off into the mediocre sunset. We'll see you.
Yeah, I mean, Dalvin Cook can't do it all.
That's why they'll win 7 or 8 games.
I mean, maybe offensive strategy next year. Just take Kirk Cousins off the field, direct snap to Dalvin Cook on every play. Just get rid of the middleman. And then you know what? Hell, fuck. You know, you got the quarterback off the field, just throw in an extra fucking blocker every play.
Yeah, why not?
Get another tackle out there.
It may as well just be Lamar Jackson out there.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I've seen him throw the ball a little bit. Dalvin Cook. I mean, just nothing in game or anything, but he's got a little bit of a cannon on him. He can get you 30 yards on the throw. If it's open.
Yeah. All right, Chad. Anything else in the NFC North?
I mean, if you want to go back and retalk on Detroit.
Not really.
I don't know if you want to.
Not really.
Yeah, not worth it. Like they're just either. I think Minnesota. I think you could say that like this. Minnesota.
Could you imagine if they were like a presidential campaign? Goff, Anthony Lynn. I go Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota, Detroit.
I want to say. I want to say that's good, but I still kind of question Chicago's record.
That's fine.
Bit.
Yeah, you could flip-flop them with the Vikings.
Not like question them so much as I think the Vikings might have a better record. Question it so much as like a lot like all three of those teams outside of, or like, you know, of those 4 teams outside of Green Bay, 3 of them are probably going to have losing records.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my. I just want to say that's my caveat.
I do think there's a shot Chicago can make the playoffs. I think there's a chance.
I mean, I feel like your chance of them making the playoffs is the same chance I'm giving the Ravens to beat Cleveland. It's outside.
I think it might be better than outside.
I mean, I guess if Fields just comes out and blows the doors off, maybe.
Let's think about this. The NFC West. There's a chance they all just kick the shit out of each other, and none of their records are as good as we think they are. Well, let's say two of them have good records and they just beat each other up, and somehow the Bears get 2 games against the Lions. Let's say they sweep the Vikings somehow. The Saints are questionable with Winston, Taysom Hill. We don't know what we're getting there.
I mean, I don't know who. The
NFC East is bad. There's 3 wild card spots, right?
I don't know who Minnesota. I don't know who the Bears play this year. So like, I don't have their schedule.
There's 3 wild card spots.
Yeah.
If the NFC West beats each other up, if maybe the Saints aren't that great. They did get hammered on.
So I would just say this, like, again, I believe it's like, I'm not saying you're wrong to say it's possible. My thing is, like, when it comes to rookie quarterbacks, what's one thing that we know that they like to do a lot is throw interceptions. How do you beat this Chicago team is you don't let their defense beat you and you make their offense play bad and beat their offense. Like that's where my thing is, like, even if Fields goes in, and I think he'll start playing around week 4 or 5, I think you could chalk it up to Fields going on to getting some serious action. But I would just say, man, be careful, just because, like, it's possible. I just think, Justin Fields, he's still a rookie quarterback, and, turning the ball over, getting turnovers against this offense is how you beat their defense. So that's where my only thing is like, if Justin Fields, if this was his second year in the league, I'd be like, yeah, once he starts, they're going to kill it. But just the rookie aspect of it is where I'm like, okay, pull back the reins a little bit, pump your brakes.
All right, that should do it.
Yeah. Any other housekeeping? Anything you want to go over, address? Anyone you want to yell out, call out on the show?
No, I'll probably be doing a lot of that on Monday.
Okay, well, you heard it. Trey's gonna start firing people on Monday, apparently. Well, so with that being said, what do we got to say here? We have to say Patreon. Go support us on Patreon. You can subscribe to stuff and you get prizes if you do. Check us out on Twitter, vendetta_media. Follow us on Facebook, like us on or follow us on Instagram too. We have also the sub kind of Vendetta pages on Twitter, Vendetta Baseball, Vendetta Podcast, Vendetta other stuff. And then what else is there? You follow Trey at Trey Daubert, follow me at Lowfooted. Anything, Trey? Did I miss anything? Oh, Monkey Knife Fight. We got the deal going with them. If you put in $100, you'll get 100% match up to that $100. You can put in $1,000, but they'll match 100 of it. That's how that works. If you use promo code Vendetta on their site. Also, if you use promo code Vendetta with Symbol, where you can trade stocks with your favorite NFL, baseball, basketball, minor league soccer teams. I don't know what they have. I don't know everything they have going on over there.
College football, baseball, NFL, NBA. I think that's it.
It's a lot of teams. That should keep you covered. Trade stocks on your favorite teams. You get, 10% discount if you use code Vendetta on their site?
$10 match.
$10 match. Oh, okay. I was close. I had 10, right?
Yeah.
I was in the ballpark. So check that out with Symbol and Monkey Knife Fight. Definitely do that. Other than that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.